Chapter 871, I am the Jiangnan District Investigation Captain. The truth behind Zhang Yi's surrender is revealed in explosive fashion. Once aboard the Colombian cruiser Copernicus, Zhang Yi unleashes his full power. Using the Holy Judgment Sword enveloped in void flames, he annihilates Lieutenant Colonel Cryan Connor, an upper-class mutant with a 6,500-point ability index. The battle is brutal and swift. Connor is sliced vertically in two, and Zhang Yi begins dismantling the ship. His goal is strategic: destroy all communication systems to prevent alerts reaching the Colombian Ocean Fleet's command center on Ropefly Island. With void flames obliterating everything in his path, Zhang Yi's calculated destruction sends a powerful message. The betrayal by Che Haicheng and others becomes moot. Zhang Yi reappears on the Gene Foam unscathed while the warship sinks in the distance. Witnessing this, even the most skeptical survivors now view him as a godlike figure. Che Haicheng and his cohort are dumbstruck, their expressions frozen in terror. Chapter 872, Lord of the Ocean. Zhang Yi's actions ripple across the ship. Lao Tian quickly obeys his command to shut down all lights and enter stealth mode, a dangerous but necessary move to evade further enemy detection. The Rockflow group, still unaware of Zhang Yi's capabilities, are stunned to witness the Colombian cruiser engulfed in flames before disappearing beneath the waves. Li Zhongyu and others struggle to process the sheer scale of Zhang Yi's power. Even Sun Wanqi, known for her impulsiveness, is rendered speechless. Meanwhile, Che Haicheng and his traitorous allies realize their fate is sealed. Once emboldened by external protection, they now quake in fear as Zhang Yi walks past them, indifferent. He contacts Zhou Ke to report the situation and inform Zhu Zhang, positioning for extraction and reinforcements. The crew begins to see Zhang Yi not just as a leader, but as an elemental force capable of commanding the battlefield like a god. Chapter 873, Escape into the Darkness. Zhang Yi intensifies preparations aboard the Gene Foam by enforcing a complete blackout. All communication devices, including radar and sonar, are deactivated to avoid detection by the Colombian Navy. Lao Tian expresses concerns about navigating without instruments across more than 9,000 kilometers of ocean, a journey that could take up to 6 months. However, Zhang Yi remains resolute, prioritizing stealth over speed. He directs the ship toward the South Pacific Islands with a plan in mind, confident that Zhu Zhang's support will be crucial. Despite the danger, Zhang Yi's composure reassures the crew. Meanwhile, his simmering fury at the traitors bubbles to the surface as Lao Tian inquires about their fate. The chapter closes with a chilling glimpse of Zhang Yi's unrestrained anger, signaling that harsh justice is near. Chapter 874, Chuangxiang. Zhang Yi orders a public inquisition of the traitors, including Kim Kimi and Che Haicheng. Under pressure, they turn on one another in a humiliating display of mutual betrayal. Zhang Yi interrogates them calmly, watching the chaos unfold as Che Haicheng is accused of coercion and Kim Kimi is exposed as a pawn. The bitter arguments and accusations lay bare the true character of the conspirators. Zhang Yi, displaying both decisiveness and cruelty, allows the punishments to proceed as symbolic justice. He uses this moment to strengthen morale and re-establish his authority among the survivors. Meanwhile, the survivors who had doubted him now express gratitude for having stayed loyal, realizing how close they came to sharing the traitors' fate. Chapter 875, John Cartier's. The executions of the traitors are carried out with brutal efficiency. Zhang Yi delegates the task to Xie Changming, whose skill with a knife suits the grim work. The punishments are savage, reminiscent of traditional torture methods, with bodies skewered and displayed to deter future dissent. Although many vomit or cry in horror, Zhang Yi remains emotionally distant, entrusting Zhou Ke to comfort the children. Once the justice is dispensed, Zhang Yi moves quickly to secure the ship. All devices capable of transmitting signals are confiscated, and military-grade jamming systems are activated. This reduces the Gene Foam to blind navigation but ensures they remain off Colombian radars. Meanwhile, at the Colombian Ocean Fleet base on Ropefly Island, a massive naval force waits. The chapter ends ominously as a strange explosion echoes across the sea, suggesting Zhang Yi's actions have not gone unnoticed. Here's the next batch of expanded chapter summaries for Global Freeze, covering chapters 876 to 880 of the SS Arc. Each summary is now more in-depth, in the 6 to 12 minute range for major chapters and 4 to 9 minutes for others, preserving the essence and details of the narrative. Chapter 876, Harnessing All Spirits. At the Ropefly Island Naval Base, a sudden spectacle draws everyone's attention. A massive white wave, formed from fragments of sea ice and surging seawater, barrels toward the coast, accompanied by a deafening roar. Onlookers are stunned as the origin of the wave becomes clear. A colossal herd of mutated sea creatures, including titanic whales and deep-sea monsters, are charging toward the base. Standing regally atop the largest whale is none other than Jean Cartier, Colombia's most powerful inhuman soldier, known as the Lord of the Sea. Dressed in a navy blue battle uniform and commanding the entire oceanic ecosystem beneath his feet, Cartier makes a flamboyant entrance that evokes godlike awe. Soldiers cheer, and even the female personnel unabashedly wave their garments in admiration. This theatrical arrival not only highlights Cartier's supreme marine dominance but also sets the tone for the naval showdown brewing over the source of God. His strength symbolizes the terrifying might Colombia can bring to bear should tensions escalate. Chapter 877, The pressure mounts at Blizzard City, political gears are turning rapidly. Zhu Zhang finds himself under immense pressure from both the Jiangnan and Shengjing regions due to the international uproar over Zhang Yi's actions. Despite the threat of escalating conflict, Zhu Zhang remains committed to protecting Zhang Yi, whom he sees as Jiangnan's greatest asset. Meanwhile, the looming presence of Colombia's fleet complicates diplomatic channels. In a crucial meeting with East China Sea military leader Li Guangxiao, Zhu Zhang lays out his case, appealing to national unity. Li agrees to lend pressure against Colombia, but only under conditions. The source of God must be shared. The discussion between the two seasoned generals paints a vivid picture of backroom military diplomacy, where mutual benefit overrides political hesitance. The scene underscores how powerful Zhang Yi's actions have become, forcing entire nations to move their fleets and shift policy in response. Chapter 878, Rose team. Back on the Colombian side, Jean Cartier continues to display his arrogance. He openly flirts with Juliana, a beautiful soldier assigned to deliver a top-secret document. Despite her protests, Cartier's privileged status grants him unchecked authority, revealing a dark undercurrent of impunity in Colombia's command structure. Elsewhere, Zhu Zhang activates an escape plan for Zhang Yi, sending him toward the Southwest Sea. The narrative shifts to a distant battleground. A shattered pirate fleet smolders amid burning sea wreckage. Here we meet Linghu Feishue, the Guanghan Fairy, leader of the elite Rose team, and a powerhouse in her own right. Her icy demeanor contrasts with Cartier's flamboyance. Torturing the pirate Bob for information on the Dragon King's lair, she demonstrates surgical precision and unyielding discipline. This chapter is critical in expanding the cast of high-level female Inhumans while revealing Colombia's larger pursuit of ancient power sources, hints that tie back to the source of God. Chapter 879, Regional Cooperation. The weight of Zhang Yi's earlier naval skirmish escalates into high-stakes geopolitics. Sinking a Colombian cruiser would, in any other era, provoke war. But the emergence of the source of God changes everything. Power now lies not just in weapons, but in controlling these supernatural assets. Li Guangxiao and Zhu Zhang agree, if the world is entering an age dominated by mutants, traditional military might must adapt. Li offers tactical aid, deploying the East China Sea's 4 legendary spirit fleets, Azure Dragon, White Tiger, Vermilion Bird, Black Tortoise, but under one condition: shared access to any discovered source of God. The underlying tension between trust and strategy permeates this chapter. Zhu Zhang reluctantly agrees, emphasizing Jiangnan's resource advantage. This moment crystallizes the complex alliance forming among regions of Huashu, built on necessity rather than loyalty. Chapter 880, Zhu Yu. The geopolitical ramifications of Zhang Yi's actions unfold in full. His destruction of the Copernicus sends ripples through the East China Sea. Major powers, including Colombia and Huashu, move to obscure the real reasons behind the sudden mobilizations. Each fears revealing the truth of the source of God's existence. Li Guangxiao responds by dispatching the 4 mythical fleets to the front, facing off against Admiral Douglas and Colombia's naval might. The information blackout, secrecy, and subterfuge surrounding the event demonstrate the desperation of superpowers to monopolize divine energy. Meanwhile, Zhu Zhang navigates diplomatic crises from Blizzard City, trying to contain the situation and keep it under wraps from Xinjiang's powerful oversight. Chapter 881, Wrath at Sea. The Jinfeng sails silently under a shroud of night, its lights off, communication disabled, and its hull still trembling from the previous encounter with the Fin Dragon. Within the ship's war room, Zhang Yi pores over hand-drawn sea charts, one finger hovering above possible navigation routes. The more we hide, the more dangerous it becomes, he mutters, sharp-eyed and sleep-deprived. The crew watches him in silence, their respect for him tinged now with awe and fear. Meanwhile, in the lower hold, whispers turn into arguments. Bai Mo, still nursing a bruised ego from being sidelined, voices doubts about Zhang Yi's leadership, urging others to consider alternative escape plans. He's quickly silenced by Che Haicheng, who's visibly shaken after the recent execution spectacle. He's the only reason we're still alive, Che snaps, unwilling to admit just how much terror Zhang Yi inspires in him. Above deck, Lao Tian reports that the sonar has picked up no signals for hours. Zhang Yi knows this doesn't mean safety, it means the enemy is smarter. He begins drafting a revised travel route that would lead them through the dangerous, pirate-infested Starry Sea. Better devils I know than the ones hiding in shadows, he says, voice cold. In the quiet corners of the ship, some survivors begin marking days on the walls. One child draws a stick figure with fire around its head. Zhengshu, he says. For many, Zhang Yi has become myth. For others, an executioner wrapped in a hero's cloak. Chapter 882, The Fracture. Tensions reach a boiling point as cracks spread in the already fragile cohesion among the passengers. The survivors, packed into tight quarters and eating reduced rations, grow restless. Inside the mess hall, a shouting match erupts over spoiled food. Zhang Yi arrives mid-argument and says nothing, only stares. One look from him silences the room. But the deeper fracture forms privately. Zhou Kor expresses her growing concern. You've changed, she tells Zhang Yi bluntly. Your choices, they're starting to resemble the monsters we fight. Zhang Yi pauses, letting the weight of her words hang. Then, if the price of saving them is my own humanity, I'll pay it. She doesn't argue further, but her silence speaks volumes. Meanwhile, a crewman attempts to send a private signal using a salvaged transponder. Zhang Yi intercepts it within seconds. Instead of punishment, he brings the man into the control room and shows him the death toll from earlier betrayals. Do you want to be on the other side of the airlock next time? He asks, not angrily, but with a calm finality that chills everyone present. Xu Yonk watches all of this unfold from her cabin. The man we follow could save the world, or break it, she whispers to Sun Wanshi, who only nods, cradling the child in her arms. Outside, the weather changes. The air becomes unnaturally cold, the sea eerily still. Something is coming, and the fractures inside are widening just as something outside stirs. Chapter 883, Starry Sea. The decision is made, they will attempt to pass through the Starry Sea, a territory so infamous that even military vessels avoid its waters. Known for its rampant pirate colonies and marine mutant nests, the area is less a rout and more a death wish. Zhang Yi lays the map out before the key crew. We don't have the firepower. But we do have silence, he says, tapping a narrow sea trench on the chart. Old Tian volunteers a risky idea: turn the Jin Feng into a ghost ship by powering down its main systems and gliding with tidal currents. The risk is tremendous: zero propulsion, zero comms, and complete vulnerability. Zhang Yi agrees, eyes never leaving the sea outside. If this ship is a tomb, I'll make it a moving one, he says. Preparations begin. The engine is put into standby. Heat signatures are masked. Survivors are ordered to lie flat for hours, even days. Children are sedated with mild tranquilizers to keep silence. The only sounds are breath, heartbeat, and the groan of hull against water. Through the haze, eerie shadows flicker. From the sonar, a whale song is heard, wrong, distorted. Che Haicheng grips the side rail and whispers, "They're watching us." In that moment, even Zhang Yi feels something watching, not physically, but spiritually. A force older than the Finn dragon. This is no sea, he thinks, staring into the abyss. It's a graveyard, waiting for us to lie still. Chapter 884, Depths. Hours blur into a full day of motionless drifting. The Jin Feng glides in total darkness under the haunted calm of the Starry Sea. Inside, breath is held at every creak. Time becomes elastic, no one speaks. Only Zhang Yi moves about, checking seals, inspecting insulation, and watching everyone. A young boy wakes midnight and cries. Before his sob turns into a wail, Joe Kor covers his mouth gently and sings a lullaby. It works, but not before the sound has traveled into the corridor. Within minutes, sonar picks up something trailing them, no engines, no radio. Just movement. Zhang Yi, now fully armored, ascends the upper deck alone. His breath clouds before him. He stares into the fog and mutters, "I hear you." Then the ship lurches. Something massive brushes against the hull. It doesn't strike, doesn't shake. Just brushes. Lao Tian activates emergency detection. "There's something beneath us," he says, pointing to readings that spike and vanish. The readings resemble heartbeat intervals, pulses every few seconds. "It's not a vessel," he adds. "It's alive." Zhang Yi steps away from the controls and closes his eyes. Then we let it pass. Every muscle in his body screams to move, but he knows better. Predators strike what flinches. Down below, even the bravest passengers no longer pretend this is just a dangerous voyage. They begin praying. To gods. To spirits. Some even to Zhang Yi. Chapter 885, Surface. At dawn, light breaks through the low fog. The atmosphere shifts, the ghostly presence seems to recede. The ship creaks less. The heartbeat under the sea is gone. Zhang Yi finally gives the order to restore minimum propulsion. The gene phone grumbles to life. Cheers erupt below deck, and people hug each other. Even Che Haichang lets out a shaky laugh. But Zhang Yi doesn't relax. He climbs to the crow's nest and surveys the open sea. In the distance, he spots a structure, an abandoned oil platform rising from the surf. From this height, it looks empty. But he knows better. "A ruin, or a trap," he murmurs. Old Tian approaches with good news, one of the radio dishes might be reparable. Zhang Yi cuts him off. "If we broadcast anything, we die." Silence, he insists, is still their best shield. Later that evening, he walks the corridors, stopping before Bai Jingyu's cabin. Inside, she stares at the ceiling, murmuring something unintelligible. She's getting worse. Joe Kor intercepts him outside the door. "We're running out of time," she says. "For her. For all of us." Zhang Yi nods. Then we move faster. From below deck, a quiet vibration begins, barely felt, but rhythmic. It matches the same pulse from beneath the ship the night before. Something followed them.